Hello. You're watching a man at the end of his ropes drive around in a truck that is also at the end of its ropes. That is the program. Welcome. Because we don't follow traditional broadcasting guidelines, pretty much overextended ourselves in pretty much every avenue of energy that we can muster. And so there's also going to be most likely a podcast tonight. We're going to try to get a viewer from YouTube to participate. He volunteered to be on the show, so we're going to try that and see how it goes. Hopefully he's not batshit insane. Hope everyone's doing well for a Wednesday. I'm fired up, and I'm holding back with patience. I don't have patience, and I judge too much. We'll wait while YouTube is, we're just having this little talk while YouTube is thinking about whether or not they want to open up this chat and shit, let people in here. It's always delayed now. Always delayed. Back and forth, bounces around on the numbers. I have too much judgment, but it goes with the territory because I have to. You have to have a judgment of injustice in order to necessitate to produce, to birth the drive to cause change in the world around you. An equilibrium and stasis is not the foundation of change in the world, nor is it the foundation of truth or righteousness at this time. And so it goes with the territory that I have to be judgmental. It's just the way that it is. Now I want to point out something firstly before I get into this. So when you all are reading these comments and participating in this form, the whatever form of social media you're using, it's very easy, if you don't understand what's going on, it's very easy to assume that everyone in the comments is a person just like you. Meaning that they wake up day to day and try to plan out their life in a personal level, in a personal capacity, personal regard for themselves and their future, their family, and whatever they perceive to be their own benefit. And it's very easy to assume that of others, but you don't know who any of these people are. You don't know who any of the people are that are leaving comments on the most active news media that you see. When there's some web piece put out and it's stimulated with activity and comments, and that shapes consensus. And it's no different with anyone that I engage with. And I have to engage other people, particularly when I don't see them, when I can't see their flesh. I have to engage them and consider their engagement with my mind. and that reveals the true character and the true intent. But putting that aside, I got an email. Someone asked if asking about the prior stream where where I was discussing the CDC and the situation with the origin of COVID. And I got an email and someone said, "Does this sounds like Chinese propaganda?" I have a hunch this is Chinese propaganda. Now, I don't know if this person is a real person or if they're pretending to be someone that they're not. But if you are a real person, I pity you. But I suspect that your advancement isn't genuine. But I'm going to entertain it anyway for anyone that would be a witness that's here to watch this whole fiasco take place, to discuss some things and flesh some things out, to make concepts more clear so that they're undeniably understood. So this person that emailed me asked, this sounds like Chinese propaganda. The Wuhan flu came from Wuhan and they accused Australia. It would be difficult to say that it's Chinese propaganda because the only thing in media that has occurred with anything that I've claimed is that there's not a story on it at all. In fact, there are multiple stories overlapping to suppress what I'm claiming by only talking about a part of it and giving a parallel narrative of why it's taking place. The example is the CDC going into China and building the labs in Wuhan, which inevitably are attributed with the source of the virus, spreading through the world. Now, what I claimed is that the CDC built these places and then pulled their personnel out just prior to the release of COVID-19. And this person that emailed me said it sounds like Chinese propaganda. Well, to me, it sounds like you are a very unfortunate lineage of or association with Yehuda. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know for sure, but that's what my mind tells me. The reason that I'm telling you that the CDC made coronavirus and released it upon the world is not because a news media organization put out a soundbite about that or wrote an article about it with some anonymous editor with a Jewish name under some media conglomerate with Jewish financiers and Jewish CEOs and Jewish CFOs, Jewish editors. It's not from that. The way that I learned about it is by reading particularly the Daily Mail, which is a UK trash article or a newspaper publication, which is just pure propaganda. By the way, their largest readership is in the United States, even though it's in the UK. I don't know what the fuck you care about anybody in the UK or their opinions. We've had more problems with the UK than pretty much any other country in our history. But apparently people like to read their shit because Americans are their primary reader, which should be alarming to you because it's weird. And they're, most of the articles are not very great in the first place. Now the article that the Daily Mail wrote, they wrote it back in March, I believe, of this year, discussing in the year prior the CDC's budget cuts by the Trump administration, which resulted in the only people in the CDC that could have stopped the coronavirus who were stationed at the Wuhan. they had to be pulled out because of the budget cuts. Travesty, because if they would have been there with their expertise, with their piercing sight into the ether, they could have foreseen this. And they in fact tried to warn the United States administration, but the US administration was so bull-nosed, the Trump administration, that they didn't listen. And because they didn't listen, the coronavirus spread unchecked. Maybe next time the entire world should listen a little more closely to these unelected CDC officials when they try to warn you just out of the grace of their heart for your own well-being. When they try to warn you about a virus, maybe you should listen, right? To account for the instance that took place by getting a parallel narrative. Their parallel narrative is that Trump is bad, and the progressive socialists, they were trying to stop coronavirus, but the Trump administration stopped them because they don't like science. Maybe you should fund the WHO and the CDC some more, and listen to what they say and take your pants off for them. Maybe you should do that. That's what the article is saying. What the article is really saying beneath it, that they don't want to say, but what they inadvertently say, is that this is a Jew that's an epidemiologist named Dr. Laura Quick, who's employed at the CDC and was stationed in Wuhan province at the Wuhan clinic. One of two that the CDC funded and produced with outside funding from international sources from the year 2007 to the year 2011, and they ended it in 2011. They completed their project in 2011, and then they started getting budget cuts, and they started pulling out doctors out of Wuhan, even though they set the whole motherfucker up, trained their fucking personnel and their procedures and how to do it for their international initiative for disease control. And then as close as 2 months prior to the virus first coming out, Dr. Laura Quick was the last CDC employee to be pulled out of Wuhan, the Wuhan laboratory. The one where the coronavirus originated and jumped from canine to human unexplainably, although explainably by a bullshit story that isn't worth repeating. Now, that's what's really going on, okay? And the article is written by a Jew. Not only is the article written by a Jew, Dr. Laura Quick is a Jew. How do I know that? I know that because I can look at her face and I know that she is of Yehuda. I can see it with my own eyes. I've seen her sisters, and I know who she is. After too long, I'm going to be able to tell you what tribe you're in, but we're not there yet. Now, the article is written by a Jew, and it's the Daily Mail. And the Daily Mail is owned by Associated Newspapers, Inc., out of the UK. Which is owned by the Rothamir family. At least I think it's the Rothamir. It's in the UK. They're fucked up royalty system that is just basically like a pseudo state / civil capacity of government, because you're not free over there, and you let your government run a train on you despicably. And that is who started the Daily Mail, that family. That is who maintains control of it now. That is the same family that in World War II has published correspondence between Great Britain and Nazi Germany prior to the outbreak of war, prior to the 1939 invasion of Poland. Prior to that, an entire series of exchanges between this family and the Third Reich about how grand and noble Hitler's work is, and how the UK and Germany should join forces to dominate the world. And that would be right because of the Saxon blood. Now, of course, this was all a lie because the UK had started putting in spies into Germany in 1906, before World War I had even started, which started in 1914. And so this family that now has letters that are probably they're embarrassed of publicly, the letters, they'd only be embarrassed by it because of the way that people in the society that don't understand what's going on would look at the letters and think, you collaborated with Hitler. They didn't collaborate with, I mean, they did collaborate with Hitler, but not the way that you think. They're writing those letters. That's a lie. It's a lie. They lie up and down. They're all liars. They're all unrighteous. And they would sell out anyone or anything for any reason to achieve their aims. And this is what those letters are about and what they reveal. And just like you are a slave to money, so are they. They are a slave to money. And the opposite end of that electrical cord, which is money, that conduit, has you on one side and these types of people on the other. They like to send the power your way, but you can send the power back. Now, that's a long process, and we're not there yet, but it'll come someday. Now, if you can explain to me how Chinese propaganda has anything to do with the UK publishing a story which is a farce, which reveals its true underlying meaning to an audience that is primarily American, who has no business reading any UK publication at all. It's the last thing they need to read. If you can explain to me how Chinese propaganda has anything to do with that, I'm all ears. Not only does Chinese propaganda have nothing to do with it, their intent of that story has nothing to do with the reality of revealing the reality of the situation. It is seen and read between the lines without your fucking eyes. Now, I just read a story. I just read the alien story. I just read the alien story about the Israeli official who has made contact with aliens. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I feel like this deserves no comment at all. But in my horror of the realization that there are people that will need a comment on it, let me explain something to you. You are not in control, and you are about to have your shit pushed in. You're already having your shit pushed in, and you don't know it. It is about to get a lot more uncomfortable. And there are no aliens. There are no aliens in contact with the Israeli government. There are no alien spaceships that are advanced gifts of technology from the alien species to the human race. This is not the case. You are under absolute tyranny, and they are so brazen, your masters, that they laugh in your face. And if you do not wake up, which is not my obligation to force you to do, and is entirely your choice, and if you do not wake up, and if you do not start, you are going to get wiped the fuck out. Until there is no resistance. Now, when I say take action, you could take that a lot of ways. Obviously, I don't advocate violence. All of this is creation. And it all has a purpose. Even what we may see individually as bad, has purpose. They want you to fight them with what you know, because they already have an answer for you. And their answer will defeat your provocation. And you'll figure that out very painfully. The reason why you can't win is because you have no basis or foundation to fight from. You are on a completely captivated cloud with no grounding whatsoever. And anything that you could strike with at all can simply be controlled and pulled away. And a little puppet show can be made for everyone, and a little history book written about what took place and why it means what it means, and they'll tell everybody what to think, just like they're telling everybody what to think with fucking aliens. And if you do not take action, you are going to be met with whatever plans they have that are going to be used against you. And you are not in the position to have advanced technology, advanced weapons for the new war to be levied against you, because you are ordering Domino's pizza, because you are buying bullets and not manufacturing them, because all the manufacturers of bullets are under complete regulatory control, because you have a non-free press that is entirely puppet mastered, because you have banks that are just the abyss of humanity, because you have an entire multiple lost generations and a sea of nothingness and an online expression which is only a pale parallel of the actual world that you live in, of what was created for you, and your connection to the creator, and your connection to everyone else and all the rest of creation through the creator in the true cloud. And social media, evolutionarily developing itself technologically, just so happens to parallel that function. It's difficult. It's very difficult to my judgment is equally filled with mercy. I want to give you mercy, you know. I want to view people in a merciful way. And it's not because you deserve it or I deserve it. I deserve nothing. I'm just as lost as you. But I know that your maker loves you. And because your maker loves you, I love you. Not because I like you. Most people I don't get along with very well. But your maker loves you. And so I love you. Yehuda, how sick is your heart? What is this place? This place that you've made is nothing. And it'll be revealed that way. And you'll see it soon enough in time. And then you'll know. I think it's about time that I quit warning you and just let you take the consequences of your actions or lack thereof. Because it's going to be a lot more effective at this point as velocity increases and things become more surreal. It's like riding a bike. I can hold on to your seat and push you for a long time, but at some point, your motivation will atrophy and you'll become reliant. I think I need to let go because I'm not really holding on to anything anyway. I have no control. I have no knowledge. I have no body. And I say these things and you probably don't understand. Maybe at some point you will understand and you'll start to take this a little bit more seriously. And by seriously, I don't mean that you should go commit murder. I don't mean that you should seek wrath against others or vengeance. I mean that you should be that which you are in truth and in righteousness and not under the thumb of the coercion of evil. So I'll try to help as practically as I can with my judgment, but as of now my judgment says that you need to be humbled. I do too. Don't feel singled out there. We need to be humbled and we need the training wheels to come off. And so I'll do what I can by what I judge is right, whether it's right or wrong, to help where I can. But when I try to help you in these ways, I am fighting against the maker. And I need to let go. I love you.